What does it really mean to be loved and truly seen for who you are? In Their Eyes Were Watching God, Zora Neale Hurston explores how love and visibility affect Janie, the main character, as she goes through life. This story isn't just about romance, it's about Janie figuring out what love actually means and how it shapes her identity. With that in mind, today I'll be exploring the complexities of love and visibility in Zora Neale Hurston's novel Their Eyes Were Watching God. Specifically, how Janie's quest for love drives her journey because she is trying to find a man who satisfies her, which proves to be challenging due to trauma and complex situations that arise.
Here we go!
Janie's first encounter with love in the story is not with a man, but with Nanny. She had been taking care of Janie for many years due to the absence of her parents, so Janie unconditionally loves Nanny because she's been a significant part of her childhood. Nanny reflects this love in Chapter 2 by saying to Janie,
I couldn't love you no more if I had felt your birth pains myself. Fact of the matter, I loves you a whole heap more than I do your mama, the one I did birth.
Nanny's love for Janie makes her want Janie to marry someone who will protect her and give her a safe life, which is why she pushes Janie to marry Logan Killix. After Janie marries Logan Killix, she has a serious chat with Nanny about love and their marriage. In Chapter 3, Janie tells Nanny,
"'Cause you told me I must gonna love him, and I don't. Some folks never was meant to be loved, and he's one of 'em."
Her bold statement to Nanny directly expresses her lack of love for Logan because the marriage was arranged and she never loved him to begin with. Their conversation led to a major change in Janie at the end of Chapter 3 when Hurston writes,
She knew now that marriage did not make love. Janie's first dream was dead, so she became a woman.
That line shows how Janie realizes love isn't automatic. It doesn't just show up because two people are married. This moment is the first time she really starts thinking about what love means to her, and it wakes her up to the idea that her life might need to follow a different path than what Nanny planned. Most readers' initial reaction to love in this novel is that everyone experiences it the same way. Nanny fell into this false truth when she arranged Janie and Logan's marriage. But Janie starts to realize that love is personal and different for everyone. That's why when she feels unhappy, she doesn't just accept it, she questions it. As Janie's journey continues, she keeps trying to figure out what love is supposed to look like for her, not just what others think it should be.
Wow!
This change comes in the beginning of Chapter 4 when Janie meets Joe Starks while Logan is away. She instantly falls in love with his charisma and physical features. After Joe tells her his dreams to become a great man and have Janie by his side as his wife, she has a serious conversation with Logan about their marriage. She then leaves Logan abruptly and runs off with Joe, seeking the satisfaction and visibility she lacked with Logan, who seemed almost invisible to society and wasn't able to satisfy Janie. Janie runs off with Joe to the town of Eatonville. Their status in the town increases significantly as Joe builds a store, a post office, roads, and a large house for him and Janie to live in. Joe becomes proof that power can lead to corruption. As his visibility in the town increases, Janie and the townspeople begin to have mixed feelings about his leadership. This is expressed when Hurston writes at the end of Chapter 5,
The town had a basket full of feelings, good and bad, about Joe's positions and possessions, but none had the temerity to challenge him. They bowed down to him, rather, because he was all of these things. And then again, he was all of these things because the town bowed down.
That quote shows how Joe became powerful, not just because of what he had, but because people allowed him to be in control. Janie sees this too and realizes she's just part of his image, not someone he truly listens to or connects with. As Janie starts her job as a store clerk and her status rises in the town, She begins to feel less and less visible and starts to lose her love for Joe. She describes her feelings in Chapter 5 after Joe says he plans to make a big woman out of her, thinking,
A feeling of coldness and fear took hold of her. She felt far away from things and lonely.
on the surface, Joe is putting her on a pedestal, but she actually feels caged by her status and wants to be free. After years of being together and having a mostly secure, satisfactory, and affectionate relationship, Janie and Joe's relationship takes a sharp turn after they have a major argument in the town store. According to verywellmind.com, trauma in relationships can cause someone to feel disconnected, avoidant, and even numb. That's exactly how Janie starts to feel. All of these things occur and force Janie to wonder whether she loves Joe the same way she did when she met him. It is revealed that Joe has a kidney disease that will most likely end his life. In his final hours, Janie confronts Joe and has a deeply emotional and meaningful conversation with him before his death. Joe stays stubborn and resentful until the end, which shows how some people never change. While Joe doesn't change, Janie significantly changed after Joe's death because she feels she has been released from Joe's control and is visible again. Janie felt that loving Joe would provide her with a sense of validation and belonging. After finding out this wasn't true, she was confronted with the complex reality of love, that things change and love isn't a smooth path. Janie's second marriage affected her journey in life because she realized it wasn't status or security that she wanted, but to be loved unconditionally like she did with Nanny. LaurenO'Lauren.com sums up how Janie's relationship with Joe was a significant part of her life, but how it's just a part of her identity and it doesn't define her, writing, "While relationships contribute to our sense of self, they are just one part of a larger tapestry that makes us who we are." Swiftly moving on after Joe, Janie meets a handsome and kind man named Tea Cake shortly after Joe's death. She is initially hesitant about Tea Cake because she is still recovering from her relationship with Joe. She wants to find love again, but has been scarred by her trauma and revelations about love. Tea Cake ends up swaying her with his charisma like Joe, but his vision is not of greatness, but to live out his life with Janie peacefully. They married and moved to the Muck in South Florida, with Janie summing up their new lives in Chapter 14 saying,
Clerking in that store was hard, but here we ain't got nothing to do but our work and come home and love.
"All good things must come to an end at some point, though, because after months of peacefully living together on the Muck, gambling, dancing, eating, and picking beans, a massive hurricane hits the Muck. Their love is tested by the ordeal that resulted in sacrifice and tragedy. Specifically, Tea Cake saves Janie from drowning at the cost of getting bitten by a rabid dog because he doesn't know what he would do without her. Things were not the same after the hurricane, though, because Tea Cake developed rabies and Janie ends up having to kill Tea Cake after he almost shot her. Tea Cake was the closest Janie came to finding the love she longed for, but not even that love was immune to the chaos that plagues her life. Janie's final act brought her back into the limelight as she went to trial and was not found guilty of murder. Her verdict reveals that people knew how much she loved Tea Cake and wouldn't kill him out of spite or anger. Alone, she returned to Eatonville, and the story ended where it began, with Janie telling her life story to Phoebe on the porch. Janie's complex journey, led by her quest for love, resulted in many shifts in her visibility to society, and her realizing that not everyone experiences love the same way. "Their Eyes Were Watching God" changed how I think about relationships and love because it made me realize how much people's pasts and experiences can affect what they want and how they feel. Today, I explored the complexities of love and visibility in Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Janie's quest for love drives her journey through her many relationships and ultimately leads to her maturing and changing drastically throughout the book. In the end, Janie's journey through devotion, satisfaction, security, and affection shows us that love isn't one thing, It's complex, fluid, and is shaped by control, trauma, hope, and freedom. Ultimately, Janie herself sums up the complexities of love and her journey when she tells Phoebe in chapter 20.
They're going to make my ration because my love didn't work like they love, if they ever had any. Then you must tell them that love ain't something like a grindstone that's the same thing everywhere and do the same thing to everything it touch. Love is like the sea. It's a moving thing. But still in all, it takes its shape from the shore it meets and is different with every shore.
Thank you for listening.